Okay, guys, so I thought it'd be kind of fun to talk about this other idea that kind of came to me recently. And I was like, you know what? I don't really get to. I don't. I've been doing a lot of crossover stuff for fan fiction ideas, but I have done some alternate universe stories. That's been a trend. But I was like, this idea came to me. And I was like, you know what? I really want to talk about it. And that story is Danny Phantom 1775. This is an alternate universe story where the story of Danny Phantom is taking place during the Revolutionary War. I know. Like, holy shit, how does that even work? How does that even work, Multi? Like, how do you even do Danny Phantom in, like, the colonial era? Like, how do you even manage that? Well, the idea is that in this storyline, Danny and his family are they are colonists. They are part of the colonies, and instead of because in the show it's or they live in Oregon. Apparently, that's what I like. It jumps around of what state specifically Amity Park is, but in here, Amity Park is just called Amity, and it's like a colony in Pennsylvania, out in the Pennsylvania farmlands, and Danny's Danny's father, Jack, is like an inquisitor. He's a witch hunter, which we did kind of see in the time travel episode. So yeah, he is an inquisitor. He's a witch hunter, but Danny himself is just kind of like, yeah, my dad's a witch hunter. All right, whatever. And we also have what is it? We have Jazz, and who wants to be more than just a live the house life, and Amity is run by, it does have a mayor, but Vlad, the rich landowner, is the real guy calling the shots, who's also a loyalist to the Empire. Now, Danny is inspired by the Boston Tea Party, of he reads the news about what happened in the Boston Tea Party. He's like, oh man, I want to fight the Redcoats too. But the problem is that his parents aren't really cool with that, so Danny, who's been living also under the boot of the British Empire, was basically like, you know what? I have an idea. What if I signed on as a militiaman to help protect people? His dad's still like, no, that is until the British Empire comes knocking and attacks his family and basically burns their house down. No one's killed, but Danny's family is basically has their home burned down. They have to find somewhere else to live. So Danny, goes out to hunt down these British soldiers who attacked his home, takes them all out because he's been living out on his own. Well, not living on his own, but basically as a farmer. For those who don't know, you have to really learn how to live out in the wild back then. So Danny more or less attacks them, and those who survive the attack say that a phantom got them. So Danny goes under the name of the Phantom to assist the the colony militias as this phantom-like character who's like, oh, is it supernatural? Is it not? Yeah, Danny has no powers in this story. He's just going by a pseudo-superhero identity to combat, the British Empire. Along the way, he meets Tucker, who is a former slave who's now working as a militiaman to earn his freedom. And he befriends Tucker, and he makes a little. He basically becomes like the Little John to Danny's Robin Hood. The two of them bond and become friends. They also meet Sam, who they rescue from. They rescue Sam from being accused as a witch, even though she is a Wiccan. They more or less save her from being burned, and the three of them form a little group to help fight off the British Empire. Meanwhile, Vlad is getting, he is angry. He is just incensed by whoever this Phantom is, and more or less disrupting his business. He's been, like I said, he's a loyalist to the British Empire, so he's getting soldiers. He's more or less letting Amity be under the control of the British and keeping any kind of colony assistance out. So Danny basically gets together Danny gets together other people to help fight for him, like Dash and other like young people who want the British out of the colonies. Along the way, Vlad does hire several people to hunt down the Phantom, such as a mercenary named Skulker, who in here, Skulker is this big dude from Haiti. He is this big mercenary, former pirate, or better put, privateer for the British colonies in the Caribbean. He gets hired to hunt down Danny. Danny beats him. He also encounters Ember, who in this continuity was part of Sam's coven, but she was more or less using her magic to seduce and rob people, rob men of their riches and keep for herself. So she tries to seduce Danny into being sold out, essentially. As for others, you have Technus, who in here is a mad inventor who's trying to create new weapons for the British Empire. You have Valerie, who wants to be a witch hunter, and Vlad actually has ownership of her. She has ownership of her. Yeah, if Vlad wasn't an asshole enough, I decided to make him a slave owner. Because we all know, if Vlad existed in this time, you damn well know that he would probably own somebody because he's that much of an asshole. So he's like, here, you think you can be some big-ass bounty hunter? Go take out this Danny Phantom guy, and I will give you and your dad your freedom. Do that. So there's the story of Valerie. Desiree is a assassin from the Middle East. There's a lot. There's no superpowers in this story, in this Revolutionary War story. A lot of the inspiration came from Assassin's Creed: Sons of Liberty. So that was kind of the idea, is just kind of make it no powers and just really have a lot of fun with it. And Danny, more or less, being a human character, one of the original script ideas for Danny Phantom was that he wasn't a ghost per se, he was like a ghost hunter. So that was one of the original ideas for him, so I wanted to take that and throw in a little bit of Assassin's Creed in the story. For those wondering, well, do other characters outside of Danny Phantom show up? No, I wanted to keep this idea as strictly Danny Phantom as this AU. If this does get traction, maybe I'll add more to the story. Maybe that'll be fun, to add more to this story. But yeah, I wanted to keep... This idea was more or less just a straight-up Danny Phantom AU of just Danny being awesome and fighting in the Revolutionary War as a Robin... not so much a ghost hunter, but more as a Robin Hood character. He would use muskets, but he also, to add to the Phantom ideal, Sam and Tucker help him construct smoke bombs or use illusions to make it look like he is a ghost. And they use he uses a ghost wail, but it's more like a haunting wail that they use to echo around, to be scare tactics for British soldiers. He's also uses mirrors to look like he's disappearing and reappearing somewhere else, lights and whatnot, and just basically, he's more like Mysterio than he is Danny Phantom, like a heroic Mysterio with a little bit of Robin Hood. So that was the idea. So you guys tell me in the comments below, what do you guys think of Danny Phantom 1775? Do you guys like the idea? Do you guys hate the idea? And what other characters from Danny Phantom could you see in here as, this kind of different version of these characters? Just comment below, let me know, and once again, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I will see you next time in the Multiverse.